to something new that we're trying here, folks, on our social media platforms. I'm Don Wadowitz, broadcaster for the Racine Raiders, and with us all being isolated and not knowing when sports might return, we wanted to reach out and give the opportunity for our coaches, players, staff to kind of talk about the Raiders and keep our fans engaged in the organization. And tonight, I'm joined by Racine Raiders head coach Wilbert Kennedy. Coach Kennedy, thanks for joining us on this first ever Zoom video interview.
I appreciate you having me. It took a long time to get it on here and get it figured out. Thank you for the help. I am not computer savvy whatsoever, so this is quite the feat for me to get on here and do this.
We can teach old dogs new tricks, Coach.
Not this one. I deal with that at work every day. For 26 years, my boss has said, he said to me, it's amazing. You don't type any faster than you did the first day you came in here. You don't do anything any faster than the first day you came in here. You're just one speed. And I go, yes, I am. So it kind of is what it is.
You're like that fullback that you give them the ball and they're going to get the 3 yards no matter what.
Oh, no, I was fast doing that.
We did a little April Fool's article where we talked about the coaching staff coming back and maybe having to be player coaches, and we talked about that 2-ton package that you used to run.
You know what? You know what's funny about that? I actually sent that clip off to a lot of my old college teammates, the fraternity brothers, and someone like, you're crazy. I got, oh man, that's great. You still got it in you. So I got more support than negativity about, what are you doing? You're insane. You're an old man now, And I'm like, these guys must not realize how much gray I have right now, and how I get up and how I move and how I creak and moan and groan and walk. So I'm fooling somebody. I was amazed, though.
Nice. So just want to start off a little bit of a check-in question with you. How you've been doing, what's been keeping your mind occupied during this time?
Well, the main focus right now is it's just been family and work. My daughter, she goes to school down in Southern Illinois. So, dealing with her situation down there. And she was home and she was, contemplating if she should stay or she should go back. She wasn't sure what she should do. I told her whatever she wanted to do, I'd support. We both felt it was probably better that she went back there. She is social distancing down there. But in case she had a problem with doing her online courses, she still had access to university where she can still get things figured out instead of being, 6.5, 7 hours away. So dealing with that, and then also work. Work has been very, very different from what it has been. The way that we're handling complaints, talking to people, certain things that we are doing to what we're not doing, you're just trying to keep everybody safe and keep yourself safe. And it's the only thing is I really been thinking about. I haven't thought about too much football lately.
Well, it's hard to think about football when we don't know what's coming up. But we did have a couple of nice days out there, and I know you like to get on your bike. Did you use any of those 70-degree days that we had weather-wise? Did you get an opportunity to get out on your motorcycle?
No, I was, I acted like the responsible adult. I did stuff around the house. Worked on my bikes, worked on my motorhome, my ATVs, stuff like that. I just stayed around. I was tempted one day, but I said, no, there's certain things I need to get done. So I was just getting everything prepped for the summer in case we're able to have a summer. So everything's in running order. So I've been doing that on the side to stay busy when I'm at home. And then trying to put myself in the mindset of, are we going to have a season or not? If we don't have a season, I think I'm going to be on the road quite a bit. I haven't had a free summer since I was 5 years old. It's been baseball all my life till I was 29, and football, and and then even when I was a young adult, like in my college years to come in with the beginning of the years with the Raiders, I was still playing semi-pro baseball. So those two seasons overlap. So, I mean, I haven't had a free summer since I was 5 years old. So that's kind of intriguing to me also. So I really rather have a season, but if we don't, then I'll have to find something to do to occupy my time.
Well, if we don't, and you get to go and take the Wilbert Mobile out on those summer trips, just don't get too used to it. Don't get too comfy, because we need to look ahead potentially to 2021, and we want that to include you still.
Well, at some point I got to walk away. So I don't see myself coaching as long as I played. So as long as we keep winning, then I'll be able to go out on my own terms. But if we don't, I may have to leave before I actually want to. So we'll try and stay on the winning ways. And then, like I said too, in all seriousness, it's basically, for me, it's a year-to-year thing right now. It's still fun. The guys are great. The coaching staff is just outstanding. These guys all work hard. The guys are training. They were training their tails off this winter up until this whole thing started. But I know they're still doing stuff on their own. So, the guys they've been preparing, so, and after the season we had last year, they're anxious to get back. I know they want to pick up where we left off. So I'm hoping we have a season. I really do. The guys worked so hard this off season. I really just want the guys to have the fun and the joy that I experienced when I played as a Raider.
Now, Will, talking football, you were just able to squeeze in one tryout this year. How did that go? Anyone that kind of surprised you?
Well, the tryout the numbers were really down. We had approximately probably 35 to 40 guys there, somewhere in that area. Mostly new guys. There wasn't as many vets. A lot of it had to do with the COVID. We were at that point when we were still able to hold that. As long as you were under the 250 limit, you could still have a gathering. So it was just before they, really cracked down on that. So I think there was guys who were leery, and I can respect that. So the guys that did show up, there was a couple guys that were impressive. I'm not going to name any names because, like I said, it comes down to returning vets and seeing these guys competing against the vets, because we can only keep 60 guys. So there were some guys that really impressed myself and the staff. And, we won't know the outcome until we actually get everybody together and really get a look at everybody.
So with the whole COVID-19, what are some of the challenges right now for you and your staff?
Well, the biggest challenge for us is, like for everybody right now, is just communication. We're limited in what we can do. We have phone calls from time to time. I primarily work nights, so by the time I'm calling people are getting ready for bed, or I have to be at work already, or if I try during the day, they're at work. So it makes it a little more difficult to get a hold of people. And then the other thing is just, it's hard to actually put a plan in place completely to, who's coming back, who's coming in, And are we going to be able to implement new things that we want to do? Are we still going to be able to do the things that we did last year? We just don't know, because I truly believe you have to, you have to make your system fit the type of players you have. You have your basic system, but you have to play to those guys' strength. Last year our strength was running the football. And as the season went on, Mitch continued to grow, and we came into a very good passing team. So we had the balance that we've been looking for, that we didn't have the previous season. So that's been great. And I know Mitch has been working hard and training, and we fell short last year, when Tony Hinner, he had to go overseas for military. He got called back. So Dale stepped in. Dale did a good job. He hasn't had a lot of experience at the position, but Dale's been working at that. He wants to focus more at the quarterback position. I have talked to Tony. He's stateside now, but he's not home yet. So it's been a few weeks since I talked to him, but this COVID has got him kind of hung up in limbo also. So looks like he'll be back. So I know we'll have 3 quarterbacks on our roster, and then whatever new guys decide to come in. But yeah, that was the one thing that was so great about last year, is watching the growth of Mitchell Farr. And he was I'm not a big guy on stats, but when you matched his stats with the other top quarterbacks in the league, he was there. I don't remember exactly, but I want to say he was like, I think he was like thirds in yards passing and fourth in touchdowns in the league, or it was vice versa. I mean, he was right up there. So, we're real happy with Mitch, and the guys love him. And he's just got that calm about him. He doesn't get rattled. So, I mean, I told him a couple years ago, I said, it's going to be your job. You're the front runner. I said, you got to take it. You got to do something with it. You got to work out in the off season and work on things that, in the film room, classroom type stuff, and get yourself more familiar with the offense and reading defenses. And I said, take it and run, man. I said, don't let somebody come in and take what could potentially be your spot, And last year he did a really, really good job, and we were real happy with him. So I'm really excited for Mitch,
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've noticed over the couple of years with Mitch is, and kind of talking to where you're saying that he's improving, is he's also getting a little more consistent. And a couple of years ago, you weren't quite sure what you were going to get out of Mitch from game to game. This year, he kind of had a couple of off games in there, but for the most part, he was really a consistent performer, and he's a goal setter for himself. I know we do the Player of the Week awards, and,
Yes.
and he came to us after one of the post games, and he's like, Coach, what do I need to do to get Player of the Week one of these weeks?
That's real interesting, because what you said absolutely happened, and it's absolutely true. But he's that kind of guy that, when he first came back, he hadn't played football for a while. He was a big basketball star, and he wanted to get back in football, and that's when his brother, him and his brother Michael, they came back out together. And what an unfortunate injury to Michael, wrecked that dream of those guys playing together for some time. But his brother came on the coaching staff and was coaching running backs along with Nick Aiello. So he's still part of us, But the thing with Mitch is that from when he first came, every year he's gotten better, and you could see him, because of his athletic background, the confidence that he has in himself. He doesn't get rattled. He forgets bad things that happen, and that's what makes him a good quarterback, where if you make a mistake, you got to wash that off. You got to forget about it. You got to go back out there. You can't get gun shy. You got to get back after it. And that's exactly what he does. He gets sacked, he gets up, and he gets back in the huddle, and he's ready to go again, we've been telling him to protect himself. We're trying to get him to protect himself better. He did a better job over this year, but he's still got that fire where you're like, Mitch, just go down. Mitch, every play's not there. But he doesn't want to quit on a play either. So, so we still got to get that worked out a little bit. And sometimes it's okay to throw the ball for, 5-6 rows up. It's okay to do that in the stands. But you just got to love his attitude towards the game and the guys follow him. He's not a rah-rah guy. He doesn't say a whole lot. He's really, he wants you to play by the example he puts out on the field. That's how he leads.
Yeah, it's great. His recovery after, a couple of years ago, we were all silent as he laid kind of motionless on that field in Chicago, and to come back from that and to be where he is now and to want to keep playing the game after something like that, I think just says a ton that you've already talked about as far as his character and his leadership and why guys like to follow him.
Yeah, and it shows too. I mean, even when he came back, he struggled, but, he came back and he was still a gamer, and even when we were down there playing the Chaos, 2 years ago, he was cleared to play, but we weren't sure if he was ready. We didn't know if he was mentally ready to go. And after the first half, how bad that went for us, we went to him and he played absolutely outstanding, almost got us that game. We fell one play short, of winning that game. So if you could imagine if he didn't get hurt in the beginning of the season and he had all that time to grow, he'd be that much farther ahead already. So so for him to come back and battle through that and then have the type of season he did last year, it really, the sky's the limit for Mitch.
So, Coach, turn to some other exciting news that's taking place. The city turfing the football field earlier than we expected. Originally, we thought there'd be a few more years of grass there, but the process of installing field turf at Horlick Field is in progress. What are your thoughts on field turf, and does it change anything for you as a coach as you're assessing players or any game planning or anything like that?
Well, the big thing it changes is I'm glad I'm not playing anymore. I hate turf. The guys are excited about it. They always love to play on turf. I always preferred grass fields, but you hear a lot of other teams. They say they don't want to play in Racine because it's grass, slows the players down. I do understand the complaints about, as the season gets later in the year when the high schools start playing and the field gets choppy. I understand that part of it, but the guys are excited. They all love turf. They love flying around on that stuff. I don't see it changing what we do because even when we play on turf fields, we still play our game. So it's not going to turn us into something that we're not. The only thing that would change us from what we are is personnel, if our passing situation isn't working well, then we're going to run the heck out of the football. If we can't run the football and we're able to throw, then, we'll turn into a passing team, so it's really just based off of, it's never been about field conditions for us. It's all about our personnel. So I don't see it changing us whatsoever.
Sounds good. How are you and your staff kind of keeping players or prospective players motivated and engaged right now during this time of uncertainty?
Well, it's the new age of texting. These guys love to text. So you shoot a text. I reach out to the captains. I'll send them a message. They get to the guys on their player page. Anything I got out there. Players can contact me anytime they want. I tell them if I don't answer, it means I'm sleeping because I work at night. I'll call you right back as soon as I get up or as soon as I'm available. So a big part of it is it's with my captains. I rely on them to pass on messages that's necessary. I try to keep in touch with the guys and see how they're doing, as far as, their personal lives, if they were going through some things. I don't pry, if the guys come to me about something during the season, then I'll talk to them, about it and see if things are going okay for them. So, but I rely a lot on my captains to do a lot of that work, and they do a great job at it. And the guys, what's really cool about it is they really stayed engaged this off season because, like I said, they're working out together. They've been going Wednesday nights, still going out for wings together. So they're still doing stuff together, which is great. So, they're all just kind of waiting to see what we're going to do. That's what it really comes down to. And like I said, as far as the planning aspect is, we just can't go too far with it till we know exactly what we have.
So does that make you, we talk about this a little bit during the course of the season and such about, players from your time period to players from the current time period, and how when you played, everybody spent a lot of time with one another, whether it was practice, on the field, off the field. So does that kind of make you proud when talking about these guys, that they're still doing stuff, still going out to wings on Wednesdays and things like that?
Yeah, it really does because, like I said, all the years that I played and before I played, a lot of the Raiders' success has been based off of what the guys do in the off season together. When you become a family, you play harder together. Some of my best memories in life is through the Raiders, and not just during the season, the off season, getting together and hanging out or going to the guys' house and, watching a football game or getting together, we used to have ultimate fighting challenge parties at my house. Guys would come down and we watched the ultimate fights. And then after that, we start playing Madden until, the hours of the morning, eating food and having a good time, So, it's always been there. And these guys, and you could see, in our down years, we had a big separation in team. But over the past 5-6 years, every year they've gotten closer and closer. And it's showing in the product as we play. These guys really do care about each other. They are truly friends. They are truly family. And it shows, they're willing to help each other. You don't have as much of the backstabbing and stuff that you may see with other teams. Of course, you're gonna have some guys that are upset they don't get to play as much, but you just don't have it like it was. Those years that we struggled. So it's great to see these guys getting together and doing the things that they're doing right now.
Well, Coach, I don't want to take up too much of your time. You're going to be the answer to a trivia question at some point in time. Who is the first person to be on a Raiders Zoom video for social media to keep fans engaged? So you've got that under your belt by doing this and beating board president Matt Nelson to it.
I like that. I didn't get to beat Matty much, so that's good. I get to beat him finally. I sure didn't beat him in sprints.
We all have our strengths, right, Coach?
As a matter of fact, I don't think I beat anybody in wind sprints after practice. So.
Well, thanks a ton for spending some time with us, and for everybody else out there, we're planning on doing a bunch more of these. Will is giving me a list of some players that we're going to be bringing to you. We're looking at if you're a sponsor of the team already and you're struggling, we want to get your story out there too, so you can feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to me via email at dwadowitz@racineraiders.org, and we'd be glad to bring you on board and talk about your business a little bit for our fans as well. But we're going to be offering a bunch more of these during the time that we are practicing our Safer at Home. And hopefully we get a season in of some sort this year. We'll be talking to Matt Nelson more about that when we get the opportunity to connect with Matt, hopefully in the next week or so. I want to thank head coach Wilbert Kennedy for joining us on this initial installment of our Raiders Zoom interviews. And we'll be talking to you at least once a week with these. So thanks a lot for taking the time to watch, and thanks for your support of the Raiders. Go Raiders!